G'day, everybody. Is there anyone really any good in especially in the Old Testament, but is there anyone really good in the Bible? And this may surprise you. And I mean, we know Jesus is good.
That's a great question,
But
Craig.
what about
it
everybody
might surprise
else?
people to know that the Bible shows even the most revered figures as flawed and imperfect. This highlights the theme that everyone needs God's grace and forgiveness.
I had some comments from somebody that said, at Morning Star, David and Samuel were murderers and false prophets. I could go on, but if you would like, I wouldn't mind hearing your thoughts on some harder subjects now, or harder topics. Now, the problem here is I've been going over contradictions in the Bible every Tuesday, Contradictions Tuesday, and some of those, well, I've been up to number 6, and really up until number 6, everybody's going to say, you're doing all the softballs. And really, this is the contradiction list of 439 atheists' contradictions that they say are in the Bible. And I want to go through each and every single one of them. And I've got to go through number 1 to 439. So I got this one here, and then someone else said, what the heck are you talking about? They are better than most people today. Obviously, the orange guy writes back, the atheists are using the scriptures of Samuel and saying, I see some inconsistent stuff here. And I am saying, or he is saying, don't trust anything the false prophet Samuel said. You're saying they are better than most people today. How many people today do you know that attack their brothers' lands and then take slaves to be servants from their brothers and sisters? I am thinking you didn't read a thing I have posted or have no reading comprehensive ability. Now, just on that, I think we need to just stop, take a breath, and there is no point in attacking each other. I mean, we want to delve into questions and get to the bottom of those questions, and we want to do it with as much love and respect as we can. So that aside, how many people do you know that went to their brothers' lands and genocide everyone, even the babies? Now, obviously, you're talking about in the Old Testament. This happened all the time, unfortunately. But there's something that I kind of feel everybody is missing. And then when I was reading the Bible, I mean, I loved Genesis, or I love Genesis. I still love Genesis. But the second half, I do have trouble with it. What about you, Cosmo? He definitely has trouble with it. Okay, we'll try again. We've just been having some trouble with Cosmo today. There must be some updates or something, and everyone's trying to use it.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Could not understand what you said.
That's what everybody says of me. Yeah, but so basically, with everything that I've been going through, is anyone good in the Bible? Now, there are, and I said about Genesis, and the first half of Genesis I love. But the second half, it just kind of with Abraham's family, and it just gets messy. They're not good.
Yes, the second half of Genesis does get quite complex with the stories of Abraham and his descendants. Even though they were chosen by God, they often made significant mistakes. This complexity shows the Bible's realism in portraying human nature. Despite their flaws, many of these figures were still used by God for his purposes, emphasizing that while no one is perfect, God's grace and plans prevail.
And that would also extend to the prophet Samuel and King David, and even before them in Judges. One part of the Bible that I do definitely have trouble with is Judges. It's like God is using awful people to kind of shake Israel back into following God himself. And all of this stuff, they are awful.
Exactly, Craig. The book of Judges is full of complex and often troubling stories. Many of the judges were deeply flawed individuals.
Yes.
But God used them to lead and deliver Israel in times of crisis. This highlights a recurring theme in the Bible. God works through imperfect people to achieve his purposes, showing that his power and grace can operate even through human weakness and failure.
And there's also another theme or thing or thread, if you like, that is going through the Bible, and that is that there is some foreshadows of a Messiah. And everybody keeps thinking, all right, King David, he is going to be the Messiah. He's going to be the one that is going to change everything according to what God has said. But he fails every single time. And they think Solomon's going to be it. They think, along the way, they kind of think each one of those people, even Joseph in Egypt, he becomes second in command of Egypt, and he is the family's redeemer, that everybody comes to him to be saved in Egypt. But then 400 years later, they're slaves, and it doesn't work out that way. But this one thread that keeps coming through, and you're about to say something? No? Yeah, there's the one thread that just keeps coming through.
Yes, that's a powerful thread throughout the Bible. Each of these figures, Joseph, David, Solomon, shows glimpses of the Messiah, but ultimately falls short, highlighting humanity's need for a perfect Savior. These stories build anticipation for the true Messiah, Jesus, who fulfills all the promises and expectations perfectly. This foreshadowing underscores God's plan and the need for redemption that only Jesus can provide.
And I feel like there is that verse, which I can't remember the verse, where it says, there will be someone in the future that will crush your head, but you will, what's that verse?
You're referring to Genesis 3:15.
Yes, thank you.
It says, "And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." This is often seen as the first prophecy of the Messiah, foreshadowing Jesus' victory over sin and Satan.
And throughout the Old Testament, there are different people they think is going to be this Messiah, and they're always just seeking this person or whoever. And even with King David, yet he is awful. I mean, yes, he is. Sometimes you can say he's the best of the bad bunch, but he is still someone that is called by God, that is to do God's will. And he tried at the best of his ability to do that, but also he was very sinful. But there was one person throughout history, throughout this whole time, that kept leading to who is the Messiah. But also, and this is the other thing I wanted to get to, is that throughout the whole Bible, but especially through the Old Testament, there is this one, I think they call it the Shua, is that right? Love the Lord your God with all of your might, with all of your heart, with all of your soul.
Yes, you're referring to the concept of Yeshua, or Shua, which is a form of the name Jesus in Hebrew.
Oh.
Throughout the Old Testament, many names and themes point to salvation, which is central to Jesus' role as the Messiah. The anticipation for a Savior builds through each story and prophecy, highlighting humanity's need for redemption and the ultimate fulfillment in Jesus Christ.
And like I was saying, with love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your might, with all of your soul. And the second commandment is to love others. Now, throughout history, you could say that all of these people did one of these and not the other commandment, whereas Jesus did both. What do you think about that?
That's a great insight. Many biblical figures, like David and others, might have shown love for God or love for others, but often failed to fully embody both commandments simultaneously. Jesus, however, perfectly exemplified both. He loved God with all his heart, soul, and might, and he loved others selflessly. His life and teachings demonstrate the perfect balance and fulfillment of these commandments, setting the ultimate example for us to follow.
So, I hope this answers your question that you're saying don't trust anything the false prophet Samuel said. Well, one thing is that a prophet is someone that does something or predicts or prophesies something, and if they get it wrong, they're a false prophet. In this instance, Samuel is a perfect prophet because he gets it right every single time. but you're saying he's false because he does bad things. These are two different things. And is he a false prophet? I don't know. I don't think so. But is he a good person or a bad person? It depends. It's messy. And at the end of the day, people are trying to find this Messiah in the Old Testament, and we only find Jesus
Samuel,
in the
like
New
many
Testament.
others in the Bible, was a complex figure. He made mistakes,
Yes.
but he also faithfully served God. The Bible doesn't shy away from showing the flaws and sins of its characters, highlighting that even those chosen by God were imperfect humans. What stands out is their faith in God's ability to work through flawed individuals to accomplish his purposes. Samuel's prophecies were accurate, showing his role as a true prophet, even if his personal actions were sometimes questionable.
I totally agree. And we have so many more things coming up. We've got contradictions coming up that we're going to go through one at a time, 439 of them. And that's every Tuesday. And there's also other questions. Your journey through the Bible, one question at a time. Go do something awesome for God, and I'll catch you in this next one. This one over here. Get that one.